It's not for me to say you love.
Hey nerds, and welcome back to my channel. You know I'm back again with a new video as I have nothing else to do. But anyways, this video is going to be all about supporting someone who has a mental health issue or a neurodevelopmental issue. Okay guys, the first thing I'm going to say is open your minds and open your ears and open your hearts and your souls. I know that sounds so corny, but literally that is what you have to do. You have to open your mind, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to help anybody if you don't open your mind, okay? But yeah, that's the first most important rule. Open your mind to hearing and to understanding what someone's going through. 2, listen. Don't overdo it. Just listen to them. For a couple of seconds of your life, just listen. Listen to them and find out what's going on with them and find out like how you can help, because sometimes all we need is a helping hand, someone to meet, someone to talk to. 3, do not over bombard them with your own personal issues. I know this is very, very easy to do. We all do it sometimes when someone's telling us something, and because we can relate to it, we often start talking about ourselves. Sometimes it's just easier because we feel like we're showing that we relate to them, but that can be quite off-putting at times. I do it. I know I do it all the time. But it's quite off-putting, because imagine coming to someone and saying, hey, I need your help with this, and you're like, oh, actually, yeah, I had a time when I needed help with this. You know, it's like, nobody asked you. Nobody asked you. So what was the point of that? Exactly, yeah. So yeah, the 4th point is be attentive. Be attentive, because sometimes people are screaming and shouting for your help, but because you're not listening and you're not ready to pay attention to someone who isn't yourself, you miss the signs. Sometimes it's very, 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 very clear when someone is in need of your desperate help. And I know like certain things are very, very easy to mask. Sometimes I can be really, really sad and my best friend wouldn't even know, or my mum and my dad wouldn't know. To be fair, that's a bad example, because sometimes they really do know. They know me better than anybody else. But be attentive. Listen, hear, watch, observe. Observe their surroundings, observe how they do things, so that you don't miss anything, because it's quite easy to miss things. Like sometimes people can literally be telling you exactly what's wrong with them, but because you're not being attentive, you miss it. And then they feel like they can't talk to you anymore. And that's the last thing you need. You want them to be able to confide in you. You don't want them to face these kind of things by themselves. I think we're on 5 now, 5 or 6, lost count. Give them space when they need space, because just because you know that someone has a mental health issue or is having some problems or having a neurodevelopmental issue does not mean you have to consistently be a leech on them. That is so irritating. Let's be real. You wouldn't like that if I did that to you. Like, they're having problems, that's cool, okay, but let them be, because you need time and space to heal. If you're consistently on someone's back, how are they gonna have time to heal? They're not gonna have time to heal. So just give them some space, and sometimes they pop back up and they are better than ever. I know for myself, I sometimes disappear because I just need time and space to understand and process what's going on, you know? I don't know if we're at 6 or 7. Take time. Take time. Not only do you need to take time to process what's going on, but you need to take time to look after yourself. Because sometimes when we are helping people, we never think about ourselves. For instance, if your friend tells you some great, great dark news, how are you supposed to deal with that? You know, like it's hard as it is to deal with these kind of things, but you need to take time to process that before you go out of your way to give advice. Process it, understand what they've just told you, and then do something about it. Don't just act on it, because you can be giving them the worst advice ever and they're gonna come and now take your advice, and they'll be back and they'll come and tell you, Vanessa told me to do this and that's why I did it. Especially if you know they're at like a vulnerable place, they are more susceptible to do as they've been told to do. I think a final point for me, is just be a shoulder to cry on, or a shoulder to rely on, I guess, because obviously not everyone does cry and not everyone shows their emotions the way that you may. Like, some people cry, some people get angry, whatever the emotion may be. Allow them to be themselves around you. Don't make them feel like they're overbearing. Don't make them feel like they're overwhelming. Do not make them feel like, don't make them feel bad about themselves, because sometimes you open up to people and then they throw it back in your face and they make you feel really bad for whatever it is, even though you asked them to reach out to you. So just don't go back on your word is definitely what I'd say. If you say you're there for someone, please do be there for someone. Don't take it back. No backseas when it comes to helping people, because as I said before, with mental health, it's very, very sensitive, very, very fragile. You want to be able to help them, give them a gift of help. Don't burden them or stress them out, because they're already stressed out. They're already dealing with stuff as it is. So yeah. Actually, my final point would be to educate yourself. So if your friend says that to you that, oh, I'm autistic, for instance, myself, then educate yourself about it. Don't just ask some really, really silly questions, because Google is open. You can use Google. Obviously, like, what you learn from Google, don't then chuck it in their face, because Google is going to tell you that there's loads of sensory issues, but I might not have all the sensory issues that Google talks about. So just educate yourself a little bit about certain things, whether they're schizophrenic and having some episodes, whether they're bipolar and having a manic depression episode, whether they have borderline personality disorder and they're having a really, really bad day. It doesn't matter. Give yourself a baseline to be able to talk and reason with them. Anyways, nerds, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Have a great day and stay tuned.